How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Black Swamp Comics. Today, I'm actually out in Northern California. We're hiking up a spur. You guys take a look at that. There's the woman. Really nice. Cool thing about this park is that scenes from the Jurassic Park. I think it might have been the second one, the scene with the Stegosaurus, was actually filmed not too far from here. So yeah, this place is pretty amazing. You guys ever get a chance to walk it, come on out here. But I want to talk about the Superman casting, how they announced a new casting for DC's new live action Superman. And I just gotta say, the man looks a lot like Henry Cavill, just like younger. Now, I don't think I've ever heard of his name before. I don't know any projects. However, I see him as Superman. I think he would make a Superman, good Superman. Some people are saying that he's a little small, but I don't think it's nothing that a personal trainer and a nutritionist can't fix. Maybe a little bit of the juice, and he'll be big too. I think that I'm pretty happy that DC went this route of getting a relatively guy that's unknown and then building him up. I think that's one of the things that MCU's having trouble with right now. Casting is that before nobody wanted to be in superhero movies, but now there's a lot of money in it, so you have all these big names that are trying to get in on it, but then they don't become the character. A lot of times the celebrity name is bigger than the superhero, so that kind of becomes an issue. The woman just found a funky looking snail. So I kind of like this idea of getting a relatively unknown person. Oh man, I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. Or you know what, I'm just gonna post a picture of it right here. That's what the woman's looking at right now. But yeah, I think I like that, the fact that they're getting someone that's relatively unknown, building them up, let them become the hero. So I think that's really cool. Now there's a lot of people who are hating on this casting. I think a lot of it has to do with Henry Cavill, right? But man, I don't want to hear nothing about Henry Cavill and the Snyderverse anymore, because a lot of people that were kind of complaining about it didn't really support Henry Cavill when it was time to support him. I remember Man of Steel came out. I enjoyed it. It was a pretty good movie, I think, but people were overly criticizing. Now, we do have to say that with critics, I think it's pretty obvious that there's like a Disney access bias that they have. So they didn't tend to kind of fluff up ratings for MCU movies and at the same time smash or over criticize the competitors, which is, DC. But I think the problem that DC has is that the fans don't really stand up for it. They don't really stand up for the characters. I think they more than happy to join in on a bash like Man of Steel. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought Man of Steel was a decent movie, but people were criticizing it for Superman, killing a bunch of people and saying it was too dark, and which is valid criticism, but I think it was also blown out of proportion. A lot of fans don't really stick up for it. People didn't really stick up for Henry back then. People were more than happy to bash on that. Same thing with Batman versus Superman. I thought that was a decent flick. Yeah, it had its problems. Batman was killing people, yes. I thought the editing was, you could tell there was like some meddling going on from like the producers or whoever, the CEOs of Suits, you know, getting involved in the creative process. So you can tell that those were some of the issues, but people were, again, over criticizing. And you guys remember the Martha jokes? Those were everywhere, man. And those are the same people that are now asking for, you know, Henry Cavill's my Superman and stuff like that. But they didn't support it back then. When Justice League come out, everyone, again, was a decent movie. You know, movies that I felt they should have let the director do what he wanted to do, and it would have been fine. But again, it was over-criticized because of, you guys remember the mustache of Henry Cavill? Yeah, nobody was really defending Cavill then or anything. Instead, that became the whole punchline for that movie, the mustache. And in a way, that's what, you know, that's why I don't want to hear anything about Henry Cavill, because, you know, people weren't asking for Henry Cavill back then. As much as I love Henry Cavill, I thought he was a good Superman. Loved him as The Witcher. He seems like a great guy, somebody who actually cares about the authenticity of the material. But at the same time, it feels like a lot of people who are now asking for him were not supporting him back then. And I think with the Justice League, it was a decent flick. I'm going to give James Gunn a chance just because, you know, he is the man. He pretty much set the tone for the MCU with the Guardians movies. Pretty much every Marvel movie since has been trying to emulate what he did. And I like his ideas. I can see why he took a chance on The Flash, because objectively it was a good film. As much as all the baggage that it had with it, objectively it was a good film. But again, it was the little things that sank it, things that weren't even related to it. And hopefully DC is able to overcome those biases and leave some of that baggage behind. So I don't want to hear nothing about no Snyderverse, no Henry Cavill anymore. As much as I did like him, I think it's time to start over fresh and move on. I know people will probably bring in The Flash. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman did get recasted. So they're not saying who's the new casting, but I believe that was probably like the best thing about Batman versus Superman. Pretty much the best thing out of the DCEU was Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. So it's a shame they're going to have to move on from that, but that's what happens when, you know, names are created by the heroes and not trying to use celebrity names to create heroes. Rarely works. Anyways, just want to talk to you guys about that. And so we're going to get back up on this trail, and I'll talk to you guys next time, all right? Peace.